Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we have a really fascinating stack of sources in front of us. They all seem to deal with this major psychological and emotional movement that's happening around November 30th, 2025.
Huge shift.
A huge shift. So we want to try and translate that, that abstract energy into knowledge you can actually use.
Let's make it practical.
So our mission today really is all about efficiency. We're tracking the movement from that deep, kind of heavy introspection.
Slogging.
The mental slogging, exactly, towards the open air of decisive action and adventurous connection.
It's a pivotal moment, truly. Think of it as the psychological equivalent of hitting the go button after weeks of running diagnostics.
Okay, so the system check is over.
It is. And we've got three major themes intersecting that really define this whole period. First, there's Mercury going direct in Scorpio,
Right.
which is, the grand finale of that deep dive process itself.
Yeah.
The intellectual review is officially done.
Okay, so it's demanding clarity and commitment now.
That's it. The intellectual scaffolding is finally coming down.
Okay.
Exactly. Then, layered right on top, we have two really different influences from Venus. The planet of love, value, finance.
Two different flavors.
Very different. Today, we're getting this temporary, very tender flow from Venus trine Neptune retrograde. And at the same time, we're kicking off a 4-week period of this big, expansive energy as Venus shifts into Sagittarius.
Which is all about freedom, growth, adventure.
In relationships, finances, everything.
So hang on. It sounds like we're being asked to be, razor sharp and decisive.
Yeah.
While also being soft, dreamy,
Yeah.
and maybe ready to just abandon the routine. That feels like a contradiction.
It is. And that tension is where the deep dive really lives. You need the clarity of Mercury to navigate the freedom of Venus.
Okay, let's unpack this. I want to start with that clarity, the stuff emerging from the shadows. Because if you've been doing the heavy internal work, it sounds like the analysis says you're about to, actually use those lessons.
Let's define terms for a moment. For the past 3 weeks, Mercury, the messenger of thought, communication, has been in retrograde.
The classic review period.
Right. Internal review, analysis, often feeling stuck in those thought loops. Your thoughts turn inward, forcing you to reread the fine print of your life.
But now it's going direct.
Now it's going direct from about November 29th through December 11th. And direct motion means action. It means integration.
And the fact that this is all happening in Scorpio, that's the sign of deep emotional digging, right?
Yeah.
Control, shared resources. This isn't about, whether to organize the garage.
Oh, not at all. Precisely. The insight you're moving forward on is probably profound. It's dealing with deep issues of shared power, vulnerability, maybe financial entanglements.
So this phase is about acting on what's been revealed.
Yes. This isn't just a shift in mindset. It's the moment conversations shift from analysis to action.
I think everyone can relate to Mira's frustration in that source, the TarotScope. I mean, she spent weeks just circling at truth, feeling her thoughts drift like mist. Impossible to pin down.
Making it so hard to commit.
So what's the technique? How do you grab that mist and pin it down?
Well, the answer is in the core question the analysis is now demanding that you ask.
Yes.
What truth can I no longer ignore?
Okay.
And the data suggests a really specific method for telling actionable insight apart from just, mental clutter.
A filter.
It's a filter. One piece calls it the 3-week test. If a realization or even an anxiety has consistently popped up for the last 3 weeks, it's a genuine, actionable truth.
And if it only showed up once or twice?
It's probably clutter, a fleeting fear, a distraction. Ignore it.
That is a fantastic practical filter. It lets you sort the real psychological movement from just simple neurosis.
And Mira's transformation illustrates this perfectly. She wasn't just thinking about the problem anymore. She was organizing solutions.
Right.
The analysis highlights that her thoughts began to align with purpose, and the stories she told herself softened.
Meaning what? Like the excuses she was making?
Exactly. The defensive narrative she used to protect herself just weren't necessary anymore because she had clarity.
What I love is that the feeling that comes from that is spaciousness. It is described as being like a room finally cleared of clutter.
You can feel it physically.
Yeah, that's the tangible feeling of psychological closure.
And that profound emotional clarity, it doesn't just stay internal, it influences her words, her decisions. The sources note she was able to speak honestly without rehearsing first.
That's a big one.
It is. That need for preparation just dissolves when you are certain of your truth. And that's the application for you listening. You should feel that ease, that intentionality in your own dialogue and decisions now. The heavy lifting is done.
But, okay, here's that tension again. We've got the surgical clarity, and then, bam, we're thrown into this dual energy field from Venus that's all about dreaminess and maybe a little reckless abandon. How do you reconcile that?
That tension is the test. Let's look at the temporary energy first. Venus trine Neptune retrograde, which is peaking today.
Trine is good, right? An easy flow.
It's a harmonious, easy flow of energy. And since Venus is connection and Neptune is dreams and illusion, this creates energy that is just, tender, forgiving, deeply empathetic. Shared vulnerability comes really easily.
It sounds wonderful, but that's where the rose-colored glasses come in, isn't it?
Absolutely. The stack suggests this is perfect for meaningful, honest connection, but it comes with a huge caveat.
Which is?
Because our capacity for compassion and forgiveness is so high, we tend to see the absolute best in other people. You could easily romanticize a relationship that isn't ready for commitment.
Or a business deal.
Or, more practically, idealize a financial opportunity that really needs rigorous due diligence.
So we have to use the cold, hard clarity we just got from Mercury direct to vet the dreamy opportunities from Neptune.
Precisely. Now, we pivot to the long-term emotional forecast. Venus moving into Sagittarius, which dominates the emotional landscape from November 30th through December 25th.
Okay, so a whole month of this.
And this is where the tone just shifts completely. It's joy, laughter, humor, a big jolt of optimism.
So the core shift here is moving away from control and security and towards freedom and personal evolution. Relationships become less about certainty and more about shared growth.
That drive for expansion is key. The emotional tone is lighter, interactions are generally lighthearted. We start craving excitement and passion.
And we're looking for people who kind of get the bigger picture.
People who appreciate life's greater meanings, who encourage our independence. If you feel a sudden urge to book a spontaneous trip or just change environments, this is the energy driving that.
But this freedom comes with a significant warning, which the source material really emphasizes. This is the part that hits the waller.
It absolutely does. The sources call this tendency the adventure tax.
The adventure tax, I like that.
The energy of Venus in Sagittarius, it's so driven by optimism and expansion that it tends to make people, well, not fiscally responsible.
Not great at handling commitments either, right?
Right. So how this shows up is in overwhelming generosity, impulse investing, and just a general avoidance of boring but necessary details.
So you might trade your last coin for something beautiful but useless.
Like Kale in our story later, yes. Or you might decide that since you feel expansive, your savings account should also feel expansive and you overspend. Long-term budgeting just feels oppressive under this energy.
That makes holiday shopping particularly dangerous. The feeling is, I should give extravagantly because I feel great, ignoring the bank statement.
Yes. And on the commitment side, if a relationship feels limiting or requires a lot of structure, this energy encourages you to shy away.
Yeah.
That desire for spaciousness can turn into commitment phobia.
So the challenge is using that Mercury direct clarity to set boundaries around this adventurous financial and emotional impulse.
You need the clarity to guide the freedom. Otherwise, you just end up drifting aimlessly and broke by January.
And nothing illustrates this better than the story in our material, The Queen's Comet.
This narrative is the perfect blueprint for integrating these dual energies successfully. The legend itself sets the scene. When the Queen's Comet returns, hearts open, destinies loosen, and love becomes a wandering flame.
The energy of possibility without the weight of obligation.
Exactly. And we meet Lyria, the apprentice mapmaker and dreamer.
She's the expansive mind.
And Kale, the wind lion rider, the ultimate adventurer with a laughing spirit.
And the relationship blooms not through vows, but through, what was it? Shared curiosity and unguarded joy.
Unguarded joy, I love that. The core of their relationship was a shared belief that they valued truth over certainty.
That is the perfect application of Mercury direct clarity applied to a Venus-ruled dynamic.
It is. And we see the adventure tax immediately in their actions. Kale trading his last coin for a beautiful but useless soup bowl.
A perfectly Sagittarian impulse buy.
And Lyria gifting a total stranger her compass because in her adventurous state, she felt he needed direction more than she did.
They were living purely in the moment, prioritizing grand gestures over practical resources, which is fun and exciting.
And completely unsustainable if it doesn't integrate that clarity we've been talking about.
Here's where it gets really interesting and connects back to Mercury's decisiveness. It's all the spontaneous travel and brightness. The adventure forces a critical realization. The sources say they realized that stability does not mean dullness, And freedom does not mean drifting apart.
The big one.
Excitement alone could not replace the quiet, sturdy warmth of genuine connection.
And that realization is the synthesis point. The raw, untethered Sagittarian freedom needs the grounded, emotionally honest structure of that Scorpio clarity.
So they reach the Valley of Echoes, and Kale asks the question every freedom relationship eventually has to ask.
What are we to one another? Adventurers sharing the road? Or something more lasting?
And Lyria's response is the essential takeaway for this entire deep dive. It just perfectly marries the need for freedom with that newfound clarity of action.
She says, we are becoming, growing, learning, choosing, one sunrise at a time.
Beautiful.
Notice the shift, from a noun, a fixed title like partner or lover, to these active, ongoing verbs. Becoming, growing, choosing.
It's not a destination, it's a direction.
That is the ultimate expression of this energy. They're trusting that love flourishes best in open skies and open hands, maintaining that essential freedom of Sagittarius while using the conscious action and honesty from the Mercury direct clarity. It's an active, daily choice.
Guided by the truth they can no longer ignore. So what does this all mean for you, the listener? You've completed this period of deep revelation. You know the truth you can no longer ignore, thanks to that Mercury direct focus.
And you are now fully bathed in energy that favors honest, tender connection today. That's the Venus trine Neptune influence and radical freedom and growth moving forward with Venus in Sagittarius.
The analytical phase is over.
It's over. The ground has been clear. You don't have to carry the mental weight of the last 3 weeks with you anymore. The path forward is lit by this persistent glow.
So it sounds like the greatest challenge is just recognizing that the clearance process is complete.
Yeah.
And allowing yourself to stop analyzing and start acting. Lightly, adventurously, but with that foundation of your hard-earned clarity.
Exactly. Don't mistake the spaciousness for emptiness. It's not. It's room to build something new.
So let's leave you with this provocative thought to carry forward. If, like Mira, you now know the truth you can no longer ignore, and you're embracing Lyria and Kale's philosophy of choosing your path one sunrise at a time, we challenge you to identify the first light-hearted step you will take toward that new horizon. It doesn't need to be heavy or expensive. It just needs to be an action.
What simple, optimistic action marks the beginning of your journey forward? Take that light step and explore these new horizons with both clarity and curiosity.
We've cleared the clutter. Now go fill the space. Thanks for diving deep with us.